I think everything is good to go. So, hi. It's been a bit since I've played this particular Guilty Gear, but I wanted to give this a shot again. I almost wanted to do this for Venom too. The problem is I just don't know how to play Venom, unfortunately. Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Serena, thank you for the resub for 7 months and for the head pass. Hi Freeze, welcome on in. Hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, I meant to do this like earlier in April, and life. Definitely lifed. So yeah, we're finally getting around to something I've been wanting to do. I basically wanted to do a quick retrospective for the character that was actually my original main in Guilty Gear. As much as I am now associated with Dizzy, yeah, originally, back in the day, I almost always played Jam. So yeah, I'm excited she's in Strive, character number 7. For some reason on GBA she's listed as character 17, and I swear to god, by the way, for this retrospective, I'm not going to go as thorough, as in I'm not going to do the GBA version just because it's just this again, but worse. And there's like additional like ending text for her, and that's the only major difference. Jam's a very interesting character. She's very easy, and I think that's why I gravitated towards her very early on. She's definitely the most conventional character I play in Guilty Gear. I don't know what that says about me. The main mix-up she has is like quarter circle forward slash, where you can actually chain into different moves. There's a... Okay, if triple let me. I don't know why I set the difficulty to now that I think about it. Hope I lowered it, because I'm not good at this particular game. Yeah, Jam is a very interesting character. Also, audio bouncing in these games is very fun. Fun thing, this victory animation is in the GBA version. I wonder why. Yeah, like you can press heavy slash to go behind the opponent with the little charge move. You can press it again to do the same move, but like forward hitting. But there's also kick and punch versions of that too. That's the kick version, and like the square version is essentially a feint. So it's good for like baiting, I assume. She has a big kick for her like quarter circle forward P, like, no, that's K. I'm just saying quarter circle because while actually playing the game, my brain does not work well enough to go into numpad notation. I'm gonna be blunt. Yeah, my brain cannot handle that. Jam's a very interesting character because the way she's localized varies wildly from game to game. A lot of the localizations for Jam are downright racist, because of the way Chinese characters are portrayed in media, including Japanese media. So that'll be fun when we get to like XR. That'll definitely be like cringing on my skin the entire time, but it's fine. I haven't even played Jam and Strive. I didn't even buy the DLC yet. Partly because I've actually bought a lot of like digital games this month, and I don't know if I want to spend $25. But if I want to do this like playthrough, I should probably get on that, huh? If you press down twice and one of the main buttons, you can actually charge up one of her other specials. So for example, that one should charge up the kick move, so it's a bit stronger. You can also go into like the DP from the kick. So there's this move, wrong input. Damn it. There's this move. Nope, that's the wrong move. I keep doing quarter circle. I'm trying to do a... What would that be? 623, I think? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is 623. And yeah, so this can go into that. And you can just kind of keep chaining this. So she's a very interesting character. Ow. Obviously, Strive does change things. She has a couple new moves in exchange for losing. Frankly, a lot of the options on this, like, that's the biggest, like, change, is she doesn't have all the variations of that, and that kind of sucks. It's the same problem I have with Dizzy, not having all the different versions of Fish, because I personally like Fish, and just setting up in different ways. I say as I never did it when I played Guilty Gear originally, because I was bad at set play characters. Yeah, I like Jam a lot. She's also got no chill, apparently. That's kind of still a thing in Strive. She's very, a lot, from what I gather. Like, the thing about Cham that's interesting to me is she's not really, like, a very noble character. She's very much driven by, like, trying to find, like, a hot boyfriend, basically, and also money. So, a lot of her motivations and Guilty Gear involve, she has a restaurant, and it gets destroyed constantly. So she is constantly trying to do various things to get money. If I'm not mistaken, in this game, we won't actually see it, because the story mode doesn't actually cover much, canonically. This is a game that, like, the core framework of, oh, there's a half gear that everyone's trying to hunt down, that's still intact, but a lot of the nuance has been, like, the specifics of it have been heavily altered since Cham's supers are really weird. Like, they don't animate very well if I can do the input. Is that actually forward? One sec. Nope, that is the wrong input. Again, just because this was my former main doesn't mean I'm still good at this character. There we go. It's like she just stands there, some big thing flashes on screen. It's not a very good super, but she has it all the way through X2, if I recall correctly. Other super is a little bit better in this game, and she gets a third super as well in, I think, X2. The big glowing ball, yeah. And again, I almost wanted to do a Venom Legacy, just I did not have the ability to play Venom very well. Like, when I got back into Guilty Gear with XR, they did play Dizzy enough to be able to, like, retroactively apply some of it. By the way, Dust is not its own button in Original X. That was a thing starting with, or you can map it individually starting with Guilty Gear X Plus. So to actually do Dust, you have to press slash and heavy slash together. So if you're wondering why I'm not using Dust at all, because it sucks to use. Like, it's actually annoying to try to Dust in this game. Which is great for, like, lows. Like, I 2D constantly. So, yeah, not having access to 2D easily, it kinda sucks, not gonna lie. Yeah, this is our other super. Flashing lights warning for most of the games being covered today, I'm pretty sure. Ow, well that was anticlimactic. Yeah, Jam's an interesting character. She also has like an aerial 2K, which is interesting. It's interesting in analyzing the different versions of the character, and I'm going to get complete... What? What do you mean by that, Jam? What is she talking about? Alright, Faust. So we're gonna do an arcade mode run, and then probably pivot to X+, which will be a whole gong show, because it's Japan only. Meaning, like with the Dizzy video, I might for the YouTube version, go through and actually caption it manually. Which is a great idea. Totally won't regret everything, especially because I'm like crunched for time, because I meant to do this like for the following like 3 weeks, and then kept having things come up during the Wednesday stream slot, basically. So yeah, totally not gonna regret that decision. Oh shoot, I should show off her IK if I can land it on Faust of all characters. Ow. Some things never change. Faust is just a character I do not like fighting. Ow, case in point. Oh, that whiffed, damn it. Faust, you quirky little guy. Yeah, Serena played Elfeld story mode in Strive, so she's very well aware of Faust. Though I don't know if Serena knows all the minutia of what the hell happens between this game, where he's just a little silly guy, and Strive, where he's still kind of a silly guy. Oops. Oh yeah, he doesn't do that anymore, which makes sense. Basically, he dies, essentially. Hi, GB, thank you for the head pats. He basically essentially dies in Strive. And, like, he's still technically alive, but in such a dire state that he is essentially, like, kind of like a husk, essentially. Like, his instinct to do good is still there, but he's just kind of, like, questionably alive, basically. Like, Is it like an anime soul leaving body thing, or is it like actually implying he's dead? It's like hard to tell sometimes. Wow, this is hard to do on D-pad, by the way, and you have to commit to one or the other. You can't like alternate stick or D-pad in this game. Also, there's the IK. Again, I'm playing on beginner because I am not good at old Guilty Gear, and also these games were meant for arcades, so they will kick your ass. I genuinely have a lot of video ideas, like for video essays on my YouTube involving Guilty Gear, because of course I do. Not to tip my hat too early, but one thing I've literally thought about doing is trying to do a video essay on like all the different handheld Guilty Gears, because it's actually a weird list and very fascinating. Like genuinely, god, Faust is so low that a lot of moves miss him. It's slightly infuriating. Would you count the Switch edition of Strive? I would actually have to buy that for that video, because it is now obsolete, because it only goes up through Season 3. Or no, Season 4. So it actually is an interesting way to play essentially 1.0 Strive now that 2.0 is out. It's essentially a preserved version, so that's why I'm like, on one hand it sucks that they're not getting 2.0, but one, it didn't have crossplay to begin with, and two, it's almost kind of weirdly novel having a version that essentially caps at a point, meaning you can still experience the original version of this game. Like, it's actually really weird, and that doesn't happen very often, so I find that very fascinating. I have an old disc copy of Strive 2. It's like, I wonder if I don't install the patch on like if I turn off the online on PS5, I kind of wonder if I could actually get it to run. Like 1.0, like literal 1.0, not just like 1.4, whatever, but like literal 1.0. It's like, I wonder if that would actually work, and if that, when I do the Fox Girls favorites on Strive, because of course that will happen, obviously I won't be able to play Basket, because she was Season 2, but there is still the temptation to actually do like a run with like Ramlethal off 1.0, just to see how different Strive was back then. And then do like a PC run of like the current version with Brisket, because again, it's important. Like, the reason Strive resonates is partly because of Brisket, and a lot of characters too. I don't know if I want to pull a star and do like every arcade story mode in Strive. That I think would drive me insane, especially because they're still getting characters. So, Potemkin is a character that always walls me, even in modern Guilty Gear, just because I do not deal with grapplers well. Like, if I played Street Fighter, I probably would hate fighting Zangief. I think if I had the hydration check, I'm talking a lot, I'm realizing. I have a lot of bottled up emotions, apparently. But yeah, Serena, that's kind of my speculation, is the reason they're capping this, because it's deliberately called Switch 1 Edition. I'm imagining that there's going to be a Switch 2 edition of sorts, but it's going to have to be a separate SKU, because of not having, like, you know, like, connectivity to, like, crossplay. So, like, a Switch 2, instead of Guilty Gear Strive, it's just up in the air, that's fair. I thought they kind of deconfirmed it. But basically, god, trying to explain my thoughts on this while fighting a grappler is not the easiest thing. Basically, I do think there will be a Switch 2 edition eventually. But it was also outsourced to, I think, Tantalus? Is that right? I don't know if that's actually right or not, because that feels wrong. But someone outsourced it. It runs pretty well for a Switch version. The one issue I have is you can't resize the HUD, so it's designed for a handheld screen, even on TV mode. So the health bars are really huge for some reason. But just overall, I actually kind of want to own the Switch version. Bizarrely enough. The problem is I don't want to spend like $60 on it. Oh hey, guess who else I hate fighting in every version of Guilty Gear? I do not like fighting Millia, no matter what. There's the universal constant of... Oh yeah, she has a counter, by the way. Which is, that. I mistimed it apparently. Like, Melee is like a banger design. I just do not like fighting against Melee players in any incarnation of this character. Okay. I'm trying to land the counter, but I think I'm gonna die in the process. I'm definitely gonna die in the process. Oh, that whiff. Well, that really sucks. IKs are so interesting in this game because you basically sacrifice your meter if you screw it up, so it is definitely a desperation kind of move. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who developed it, because like, the name that comes to mind is Tantalus, but that doesn't feel right. It was Tantalus, okay. I thought they made a post about it. Tantalus is the studio that did Twilight Princess HD and Skyward Sword HD more notably. So like, they do good ports. The only problem is just, yeah, how do you get rollback for this game and crossplay working? The servers, you know how the game boots up so badly when connecting to servers? I don't really need it to get worse. That's kind of why I have the hot take of, as much as like crossplay is inherently cool for this game, every time they add a new system, like a new platform for crossplay, it breaks shit for like months. So that's why I'm like, kind of, on one hand it'd be cool to have Switch compatibility, on the other hand, it would just break a lot of things. Like when they added Xbox to crossplay, things broke for like a long time. Like when they added Steam to PS5 crossplay, things broke. When they added Xbox in, it broke again. So yeah, this is why I wouldn't necessarily be opposed, but also would be annoyed if it just, once again, just brings down every other system. I don't know what difficulty I set this to, because this feels harder than I'm used to. Or maybe it's because I'm talking over it. Yeah, I really do want that at some point. I actually want to own the others too. I actually looked on eBay and like Judgment's like complete in box or even new for like 20 bucks. I only have a PSP though. Obviously I would emulate it if I were to stream it. I don't have a PSP, let alone a modded PSP. That's one of those dream things I want to own someday, is like a PSP modded with like HDMI. And no, wait, you can just, it has component out, you can just do that. So yeah, I genuinely would want a PSP someday, just because, you know, the novelty of owning a PSP. Okay, that was very scuffed. Again, do not know what difficulty this is set up to at the moment. But yeah, it is a consideration. So yeah, what then actually entails the $1 million question? There's a DSiWare game. I think Freeze told me about this. It's like, I've never heard of this. Shouting at the top of your lungs is a great way to focus on your power. That's interesting advice. The DSi Guilty Gear, it's Guilty Gear in the loosest possible term. I think it's like a platformer with like a mascot character. The guy in the back looks like Raven from Tales of Vesperia. Good game, by the way. I don't really vibe with it just because, oh my god, that game is really annoying when it comes to 100%. As someone who likes to complete games, that game is like the worst game I've ever seen. Like, genuinely. Like, Symphonia is pretty bad too, but like, oh my god, there's so many weird side quest requirements in that game. Like, oh, talk to the, like, go back to like the first town and like talk to the specific NPC. If you don't actually talk to this NPC, you will have no context for the final boss. It's so dumb, and it makes me actively annoyed. It's a guide game, which feels weird to say about an RPG that came out in like the 360 era. That's a guide game. Hell. Yeah, I think I left the difficulty on normal because I am getting a little bodied. Either that or I'm not locked in. That was just me blocking the wrong way. That was risky on my part, but it paid off, so I'll take it. I'm also not RCing, because, again, if I don't have a macro for RC, I don't like using it. Well, that's just rude. Yeah, I think I left it on normal, because I'm not usually getting destroyed this much. Why is that the loudest sound imaginable? I love early PS2 and like PS1 sound balancing or lack thereof. I was playing so good last night, that's why I'm kind of disappointed. It's like, what the hell is happening? I feel like I was doing so much better. The other issue is I don't use punch enough. Like, I almost always just rely on like slash heavy slash kick and that like tier, and again, not having dust on a macro is also screwing me up, honestly. Like, not to make excuses for my gameplay not being the best, but again, if I could just use dust in combos more, that would help. Dust is like an automatic overhead usually, and there's also just a good low for chaining. Like that. It's like a hard knockdown, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like I remember that like Amazon had like the Switch version of Strive for like $30 at one point, and I was like almost considering it, but I ended up opting out because I already have like 2 versions of this game. So I kind of regret that now that I've had the idea of what if I do a video on all the different handheld games. But like, there's Guilty Gear Petite 1 and 2, there's Advance, X Advance Edition, there's Judgment for PSP, which is actually kind of a beat 'em up. I don't know if it's a good beat 'em up, but it's a beat 'em up. There's Dust Strikers, which I always confuse for dual rollers, for obvious reasons. Dust Strikers is basically like a really bad like attempt at like a shonen jump, like Jump Force, not Jump Force. What's the other one? Jump All Stars, kind of like platformy fighting game. But it's really weird. I tried it once and it was not great. That game's also not that expensive, even new. To the point that I've almost considered trying to collect a bunch of miscellaneous Guilty Gears just to own a collection. What the hell? Yeah, Gem has no chill. And again, I think that still applies to Strive too, from what I gather. Oh good, Soul. We're gonna get slightly obliterated, probably. I'm trying to think of other things to talk about with Jam. The funny thing is I actually forgot the musical reference, Cloudberry, but it's just spelled like very like phonetically from Japanese for some reason. Yeah, one, I'm so not used to playing Jam, I think that's part of the problem. 2, I'm not locked in, just because I'm talking. Ow. Damn, okay. I see how it is. Yeah, I'm wondering what I did for the difficulty. I might check after just to see, because like I'm a bit baffled by how much trouble I'm having with this. Oh my god. Yeah. Because this is a game where even on beginner, I sometimes struggle, so this isn't out of the ordinary. I just don't think it's entirely ordinary at the same time to get this destroyed by the CPUs on the lowest possible difficulty. Again, I might have just forgotten to... I might have set it back to default to change a different setting and then forgot to change the difficulty back. Or I'm just bad today, that's the other option. Okay, so yeah, when we go into the next game, I'll verify the difficulty. Oh shoot! Oh, wait, that's Dreamcast, that's right. By the way, this game is on Dreamcast. It actually has 1 less difficulty. Instead of like beginner, there's actually just easy. One time I tried that, and I couldn't get past easy. So yeah, that could have gone a lot better. Good start. Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, it's on easy. Normally I have it on beginner, so that's why I'm struggling so much. I'm struggling this much on easy. The only problem with that means is I have to do the entirety of arcade mode again, up to that point. Alright, let's give this another try, and of course it's Milia again. Cool. It's interesting. Certain characters I'm pretty sure have fixed fights, and Jam apparently doesn't. Because, I think Soul always fights Kai, and I assume vice versa for Stage 8, and then Testament and Dizzy. So you have a very fixed order. This game is also different from original Guilty Gear because there's more story in original Guilty Gear's arcade mode. Like, there's little cutscenes and everything for, like, fighting Justice and everything. Not fighting Justice, but, like, leading into the fight with Justice, so it's a little bit more dynamic and story-driven. This arcade mode is, like, so vague, and then X Plus's story is, like, debatably canon, I feel, because of just how much doesn't actually line up with current canon, and also within itself, too. Like, it feels like it contradicts itself at times. People sort of chalk that up in X2 because Eno is involved, so you could just say, oh, this is timey-wimey, basically. I, for some reason, forgot I was Jam for some reason, despite the whole point of this playthrough. Yeah, it's like the difficulty difference between easy and beginner is slightly staggering as someone who got absolutely destroyed last time by Milia, and then especially by Soul. But again, it's also just I'm not the best at this game, and also I'm talking. And yeah, it is absolutely a skill issue to a point. This is just not my cup of tea. I'd rather... If I were to play an old school Guilty Gear, I would probably do better at Accent Core. The only reason I would play Accent Core on the easiest difficulty is because Eno absolutely bites in that game. Fighting Eno really sucks, actually. Anyway, back on track with this little playthrough. And so that means we should get Testament, yeah. I'm pretty sure Testament is the penultimate boss of 1 as well. Because Testament is involved in Justice coming back. So, yeah, Testament would be the second to last opponent there too. Alright, again, this being on a lower difficulty, this shouldn't be a problem. Again, even on easy, I've struggled against this to the point of not even being able to beat Dizzy on the final stage, so... And again, the actual plot implications in this game are a little bit muddy compared to the actual story mode that we'll be seeing after this, just because, basically, the issue with, what am I trying to say? The issue with X's storytelling is it has a fixed description of events. There's even like a little comic on the website before Strive came out, basically detailing everything leading up to Strive, and it is kind of interesting, a hybrid of different stories for both characters. Like, I want to say Soul and Kai are both involved with Dizzy, which makes sense, given how the story goes, but like the whole thing about like, basically I got the impression that Dizzy just kind of meets Kai during part of the story in like X2 or like Accent Core, and that doesn't make sense with what we know now. So again, a lot of retcons have happened, partly just because yeah, no, the story's kind of a mess, I feel. So again, in actual canon, Jam never fights Dizzy. If I recall correctly, they basically let Dizzy go, which was a very good decision in Kai's case specifically, though I think Soul's the one who actually fights her. But then Jam basically makes up some BS to be like, oh yeah, I took out the half gear, and then she gets the bounty money and opens the restaurant. Again, I already kind of tipped that away earlier. Again, I lost a round, and I'm playing on beginner, so that's a good decision to lower the difficulty in my case. But again, it's just partly me talking, making it harder. Like, I'm not playing as optimally as if I was actually focused. Like, I would definitely not survive arcade, or like, survival mode with the way I'm playing right now. And yeah, not roaming canceling, because it's just unwieldy, and not using dust is definitely throwing me off a lot. Because stuff like that is like little conversions like that I'd be spamming constantly, but I'm not doing that because I would have to hit slash and heavy slash together, and that's just slightly more like cumbersome. Anyway, finally onto Dizzy yourself. I almost said Queen Dizzy. It's like that's not. Yeah, that's later. Yeah, I've never even beaten Dizzy on just easy difficulty. I'm trying to remember, I think there are cases where Dizzy can have a version of Wings of Light in some of the older games, like as a boss character. I don't know if it's X specifically, I don't think it is, I think it's Accent Core. There's just like a boss Dizzy in one of the story modes who can actually just straight up use Wings of Light, but instead of just gradually chipping away, it's just basically an instant kill. For all intents and purposes, I don't think it actually is, but it's ostensibly one. Like, you will live, but it's like Megalomania in Accent Core for Eno, where it's like, you will live, probably. It's not literally an instant kill, but it hurts so badly that you will probably not come back from it if you get hit. Again, in some ways it actually might be good that we are then behind schedule from where I was planning to be, just because if I want to do an arcade run of the Accent Core, that's going to take a bit, so... Yeah, maybe lumping that in with XR does actually make more sense, but again, I wish it was more because of my own decision, and not just because I chose drawing difficulty. I had to replay all this. But yeah, I really love She as a song, starting with Accent, well, actually X2 they shorten it, so the little, like, intro bit is cut down, which I think is a good call, because it's not really a great fighting game song for the little choral bit at the beginning. Even though I enjoy it, it's just not suitable for a fighting game. There's a lot of songs like that where it's not really good fighting game music. I almost feel like James' theme and Strive almost hits that problem. It's one of my favorite songs in the game now, but it has the problem of I just kind of feel like it's ill-fitting. I'm trying to just style on her, and I got blocked, that's fine. That's what I get for trying to style on her. Well, we kinda styled on her. Again, even on beginner, I did not have the best time in that fight, so... Again, good decision to lower it. Even if it did mean having to replay all that, though again, I would have to lower the difficulty anyway. Again, interesting win quotes from Jam. No chill. Yeah, then she, again, claims bounty money and then opens a restaurant, canonically. Again, nothing bad will happen to this restaurant, clearly. Nothing at all. And again, the story mode for X2, or not X2, X Plus, is sort of not canon, I'm pretty sure. Which is why it's interesting to try to cover it, also because it's not in English. But I almost feel like it's worth it. Also, I own the game now, so I just kind of want to have an excuse to play it again, though. I definitely wish there was like a translation patch, because people have translated the story. I wish someone would do a translation patch, because that would help a lot. Though I actually don't know the feasibility of patching this game. Like, I don't know if that'd be particularly possible. Never really thought about that before. But yeah, I still enjoy this game for what it is. I just feel like the arcade mode's really rough, and this game has like very little substance beyond that. There's like a survival mode, and that's kind of it. I actually don't even remember if the challenges from Plus or in this version, or if there are challenges. Because I could have sworn there were challenges in X Plus for like gallery images, and I don't know if that's the case here. Yeah, Jam's an interesting character, but not necessarily the most likable, which is why I actually find her kind of fascinating. Like, she's not, you know, the most noble, in a way that's, like, interesting. But again, mostly I played as her as my main in, Accent Core originally, just because I liked the design and she was easy to play. Because, like, Mei, I could not wrap my head around charge inputs, so I was like, nope, no thanks. Stuff like that is why I gravitated towards Jam specifically. It's just, you know, not wanting to learn certain inputs and stuff like that. And nowadays, I think I would be more willing to try a charged character. Jam is cute, correct. Again, weirdly enough, I didn't like Dizzy's original design just because it was so revealing that I felt self-conscious playing as her at the time. Even the XR design is a huge step up, even though it's like, she should have pants, probably. Or some kind of, like, dress or something. It's like a subtle change that really helps the design, even though it's not a huge deal. Again, for this particular retrospective, I'm not going to go as thorough. I'm not going to play Advance, because, again, we're already behind time from where I wanted to be due to having to redo most of that arcade run. And I just don't feel like doing that a second time, but with worse graphics and worse music. It's actually, in my opinion, a fairly competent version in the loosest sense. The biggest issue is it's just really hard in the ears. So that must be my score in the Dizzy playthrough. Now that I think about it, because there was another one with the stream acronym specifically. So that's neat. But yeah, so instead of Advance, we're just gonna... Actually, I don't know what order I went in, but the point still stands. We're gonna go straight to X+, but just for the sake of showing it off, when I do the YouTube version, I would like to put at least the ending text from Jam's GBA ending on screen, like right now, probably, just because I would like to show it off. That's the only major difference in story. Because instead of, like, the full illustrations, they just have, like, a character art and, like, a description of a story ending, which is not the most scintillating way to tell a story, but it is oddly more canon in some ways, and some of the stuff we'll be seeing in X+, probably. But yeah, we'll move on to that momentarily.